you've been out of action for quite a while, and like the list of injuries that we hear that you were working through. I was
Yeah.
talking to Adam Cole a few months ago, and he's like, man, it amazes me the stuff that he was able to accomplish, because we've heard about vertigo, we've heard about like shoulder and knee and sports hernia injuries and all these things. Like,
Yeah.
how were you feeling by the time things wrapped up for you back in November?
I think it could be as a wrestler, it could just be as a performer, as a competitor, but I think when as time passes by and you start to bury things, in you you try your best to ignore the things that poke and prod at you. You try to ignore the things that are nagging injuries. You try to ignore the things that don't seem as important as the task at hand. So when I knew that I had a title match, or if I knew that I had some kind of important match where I knew I could possibly elevate somebody, or even if it was just, I know that I've got a real fun segment coming up with the Elite, with the Bucks. Whatever it was that I was dealing with, I would kind of push into the subcortex of my brain and be like, okay, now what do we have left to work with? And how can I use what I've got left to do this without people knowing that there's an injury? Luckily, and I think you can really only accomplish this by having years in the business, or years in competitive sports or performance. You always find ways to deal with issues like that, and you always find ways to lean into other strengths you may have to cover up for weaknesses. That's just the name of the game. And it wasn't until I was kind of forced to sit and talk about all of these issues that I had had, whether it be with our trainers or doctors. When I had done a chiropractic video for a dude on YouTube, it kind of took me aback, and it shocked me to start talking about these things that I had never really talked about at all. And when I'd start to compile a list as to what is hurting, but not just hurting, but I mean, what is it that isn't going to heal on its own? The list was just too long. And I knew that as soon as I got into a position where I knew that the company was going to be okay, and I knew that I wasn't going to leave anybody hanging or devalue a belt or something, that I needed to take that time to finally get things straightened out.